Um, yeah, so I'm
All your
Cal.
names. Yeah,
Yeah,
Callum.
I'm Cal.
I'm Corey.
I'm Jamie. Sophie.
Hi, Sophie.
You're Renee, right?
Yeah. Yep. Go.
Okay, so do you think that the scale of buildings in Brisbane provide like structural integrity, and if so, what would they be able to withstand?
Structural integrity. I guess we're lucky living in Brisbane that we don't have climatic issues,
Yeah.
so we don't have earthquakes and we don't have tsunamis hit Brisbane. So structural integrity against elements is probably not as critical. Obviously
Yeah.
they have to be structurally sound given the heights that we're going to. Like Brisbane's now got some of Australia's tallest buildings
Yeah.
happening, so 70 stories, which is going to stand out above everything else that we've got. Brisbane, yeah.
Thank you. Can the buildings here improve from an aesthetic perspective?
Yeah, so that's always going to be a tricky question, that one, because everyone has a different opinion as to what's a beautiful looking building or what's attractive elements in buildings. Some of the new buildings Brisbane are building are pretty cool. Like there's a brand new one, if you guys have time to go and have a look at 480 Queen Street, so it's literally straight down here. And a lot of the elements they're putting into it are really interesting. Beautiful big foyers, stone everywhere.
Yeah.
But, you know, whether that appeals to you or not, it's a very personal taste. Brisbane, especially in the city where we are at the moment, like we do have a lot of history. There's the Regent Theatre, which is an old building, you know, and it's now being captured between modern and, you know, the renovations they're doing of some of our malls
Yeah, that's
are certainly introducing some more modern elements as well. So there's a real eclectic mix, I think, in Brisbane. We've got some very ugly 70s buildings, but they're going through their life cycle. So give them, you know, another 10, 15 years and they're going to be completely refurbished and have a different look as well.
Is the financial side of construction efficient or expensive here, and what are your predictions for like future prices?
Yeah, so construction costs have certainly risen significantly, and that comes down to trade costs. So a project gets broken down into, you know, you've got electricians, you've got plumbers, you've got your plasterers, so all the different trades, their hourly rates have gone up significantly, so that means your whole overall project cost is increasing. And in Brisbane, as much of the world, we've got to now have certain Green Star ratings, so you've got to have certain amounts of energy efficiency. So it means the running costs of your tenancies and your buildings should be diminished, but the costs to implement those factors into your building are making projects more and more expensive. So costs are just going to keep increasing. I don't think there's going to be plateauing at all.
Are the construction companies efficient, and do they build quickly or slowly, and does this affect the business?
Yeah, so there's so many construction companies in Brisbane, and you hopefully pick the good ones who have very efficient quality assurance systems in place. So that means they've got good communications, they've got a good team on board who are letting out the projects and managing the program of the work, so it's all flowing. You don't want to get to a point and go, well, we need that lift now, we need to order it, it's 16 weeks away. So it's just the smooth running of a project needs to be really well planned. A lot of the city sites, because it's CBD streets, you can't always park, so they've got to be very clever about how they program deliveries of materials. Again, that building at 480 Queen Street, like we had deliveries happening from midnight till 5 a.m. because that's the only time we could get street parking. It's just what we had to do, which adds to the cost of the project because they're charging you double time to be delivering at night. So.
Are the opportunities for new architects in the city large, or is it hard to become an employee or start a business?
So I think as a new architect, you've always got to get practical experience, and whether that's working for a small firm to start with or for a larger practice, you've really got to learn your trade. I don't think you can just graduate and think, I'm going to open an architectural office. You've really got to get that experience, and I think as an architect you've got to spend time on site and learn how buildings go together and how things are made, because uni teach you how to make nice drawings and all the pretty pictures, but it's actually understanding how the elements all go together. And I think there's lots of opportunities in Brisbane. It's all about connections and who you know and finding your niche, because that's the great thing about architecture. There are so many different facets to it. It's whether you want to design coffee shops or nightclubs, you want to do office building designs, if you want to specialise in hospitals, education, housing. Like there's just so many different elements and areas that you can work in.
Are the different buildings in the city matching and look good together? How, if this is so, and if not, how can this be fixed if it can?
Yeah, so the city's a real mismatch as far as I'm concerned. But I think that helps build a city's character, that you don't necessarily want them all to be the same. I think if you had historical buildings,
Yeah.
Hi.
So do you think that the scale of the buildings in Brisbane provides structural integrity, and if so, what would they be able to withstand?
Structural integrity,
Like,
you mean as
be able
in
to, like,
earthquake proof?
strong, yeah, if it's able to withstand like strong earthquakes or like tornado if it came through.
We designed up very high wind factors because of the nature of Queensland. So you have to respond to being able to resist a cyclone situation. But we don't respond to the same things about earthquake proofing.
Yeah.
So that's not really foreseen as an event in Brisbane, not being next to kind of a moving plate or anything like that. So no, we don't have the same requirements that they have in somewhere like Tokyo, for example.
Yeah. Can the buildings here improve from an aesthetic perspective?
Yeah, of course. Look, you get the broad range of buildings being built in any city.
Yeah.
So it's really just about, what we endeavour to do is do the best job we can on the jobs that cross our table and that we get to be involved in. Yes, absolutely. There's a bunch of work that's done out there that doesn't involve a design sensitivity. It's driven by a dollar, and there's plenty of room for improvement.
Yeah. Is the financial side of construction efficient or expensive here, and what are your predictions for the future prices of materials?
So we have a very expensive labour content to the work we do, which does mean that we end up following roads of outsourcing, so international and things like that. So I've seen that happen on projects where local suppliers have been unable to compete against Chinese importers. So developers make decisions to go down that road. This way, that basically is part of the answer. So as labour costs become higher, people pursue prefabricated elements to buildings to reduce the labour content and control quality that's coming in, so that you see that happening now. There's more of that coming into the work that we do, and that will increase in the future.
Are the construction companies efficient, and do they build quickly or slowly, and does this affect the business at all?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Construction companies tend to build slowly. They're impacted by a whole range of things, not least unions. So they tend to delay processes happening on site, and they do have a lot more room for efficiency. So similar to the things I'm talking about.
Yeah.
On the last question, what was the rest of that question?
Does this affect business? It's slow or fast?
It does affect business. So from the architectural perspective, what we find is that we tend to have to move quicker and quicker in terms of designing and documenting things, which is improving efficiencies in a competitive market. But we're finding that the building processes stay pretty much the same. So therefore, it does affect the efficiency from the person that's doing the development or wanting a building, that even though we might be able to tighten our part of the process, there's still a standard process that needs to occur to get the thing built.
Yeah.
And it does affect efficiencies quite a lot.
Are there opportunities for new architects in the city large, or is it quite hard to become a new employee or start a business in architecture?
There's two different things, being an employee or a startup. So depends upon the market. So architecture's cyclical. You have peaks and troughs. So if you're new and coming out into a trough scenario, you're going to struggle. But in peak scenarios, then there's a lot of work that goes around. So it's very much up and down. It's like any business, I think, that if you're good and you go in and you work hard, then you'll easily find your way and you won't have any issues. Startup business, I haven't done that myself, so I can't really directly comment. So I think, like anything, probably the same answer, that if you put the energy in and are smart about what you're targeting, then absolutely there's a heap of opportunity in Brisbane. It's a growing city.
Yeah. Are the different buildings in the city matching, and do they look good together? And if not, how can this be fixed, if it can be at all?
Are there different buildings in the city that are matching?
Well, like, does it all sort of look coherent? Like, does it look nice together, or are there odd-looking buildings around?
Oh, look, there's strong parts and less strong parts. I think, like, I've been around a few places in the world, and I think for new parts of the city, Brisbane's doing a pretty good job compared to what you might see in other places. But you know, there are areas where there's a lot of churn out sort of work that's occurring, where there's a lot of room for improvement.